What's up you guys, Jason here again and welcome to another camping video. If you are new to the channel, please take a moment to smash that subscribe button. It costs absolutely nothing but helps me out in a big way.
Do it! Just do it! I know the time is right. Let us light up the fuse. And I know we're perfect, you and I. And I don't giving up without a fight. What I feel, I know it's right. Let us detonate tonight.
So I'm currently out in the Clanwilliam area. I'm at a spot called Gecko Creek Wilderness Lodge. It's about 28 k's from the town of Clanwilliam and maybe 6 k's west of the National 7 highway. Property is pretty awesome. Size-wise, it's about 517 hectare. It lays in a shallow bowl and it's completely surrounded by big, beautiful, dramatic mountains, and everything around me is well-preserved natural fynbos. I believe that the property also borders the big 80,000 hectare Cederberg Nature Reserve, and everything about this place is all about escaping the usual everyday mundane city life and getting back in touch with nature. So this is something that I really enjoy and it's very much up my alley. Quite a few interesting things on site, but I will share that with you later on in the video. In terms of weather, very hot days. It's now midsummer. Today we're looking at temperatures close to 40 Celsius. Evenings we're also looking at about 20-22 Celsius. So of course I've packed in my light summer sleeping bag, and what is nice is they do have a pool. Time is now after 2. It is scorching hot. The wind is blowing, but I am going to spend the rest of the afternoon in the pool for sure. Just up here behind me, you can just make out a big rocky outcrop. This is what they call Leopard Rock, and there is apparently Bushman rock art preserved up in that structure. So that is something that I will be exploring a little bit later. But anyway, in terms of food, I've kept it nice but simple, and because of a previous comment, I'm not going to be doing any noodles, and I think that's a relief for not only you guys but for me as well. In this video I'm also going to share a few tips and tricks that I've picked up along the way, and 1 or 2 how-to tutorials for those of you new to camping and wanting to learn the ropes. But anyway, first things first, dip in the pool, cool down, and then I'll worry about pitching camp a little bit later. Important points for beginners to remember before pitching camp. Number 1, arrive early. It's always a good idea to arrive at your campsite early with plenty time to spare. Always allow enough time for any unplanned circumstances. Number 2, check the wind. Determine the wind direction and always pitch your tent upwind of your fire and the door facing away from the wind. Number 3, clear the ground. Check for a flat piece of ground to pitch your tent and make sure to clear the area of any or all debris that may damage your tent or puncture your sleeping pad. Number 4, check for widowmakers. Always look up. Check the trees for any precarious branches that may fall. Never pitch your tent under a dead or dying tree. Always remember, safety first. Basic beginner steps to correctly pitch your brand new dome tent. Number 1, unpacking the tent. Remove your tent, fly sheet, poles and stakes from the stuff sack to make sure everything is there. It's usually a good idea to first practice the pitch at home before heading out on your camp. Number 2, the layout. Lay your tent out on the ground where you want it pitched and stake out the 4 corners. Remember to apply the safety check first before pitching your tent. Number 3, erecting the frame. Extend the interlocking fiberglass poles, feed the correct poles through the corresponding sleeves of the inner tent and place the end points into the metal grommets at each corner. Number 4, erect the inner tent. Lift the inner tent and attach the plastic cup or C-shaped clips onto the poles until the inner tent is completely erect. This is a good time to open the tent door and tie it back. Number 5, erecting the outer fly sheet. Throw the fly sheet over the top of the tent and align the door with the door of the inner tent. It's important to note if there are any tie-off points on the inside of the fly sheet. These need to be tied to the corresponding poles under the fly sheet. Number 6, attaching the fly sheet. Attach the 4 corners of the fly sheet to the corresponding corner tags of the inner tent by clipping the plastic loops into the tabs. Make sure that they are properly attached. Number 7, securing the tent and fly sheet. Secure the tent and fly sheet by staking out all the corners and side tags. Never use the stake in a vertical position. It's at its most effective when used at a 45-degree angle. Make sure the looped end of the stake is facing down towards the ground to prevent the tag, loop or guy line from slipping off. And number 8, stake out the guy lines. Your tent and fly sheet will have a number of guy lines that you'll need to stake out. This will further secure the structure and improve its rigidity in high winds. The guy lines have a small plastic tensioner. This will allow you to tighten the guy line by sliding it upwards or loosen it by sliding it back down once it's staked securely into the ground. Alright, let's take a quick look at what's for dinner tonight. Pretty straightforward. I'm just going to be doing some mixed veggies in the pan, 2 eggs, and I'm going to fry up a Vienna or 2. That is absolutely it. And then of course, what's a camp without one of these, eh? I've also got this little baby spatula that I picked up from the Crazy store. I think I paid 20 Rand for it maybe. I've also got these little containers. You can buy them in sets of 3. Also I think from the Crazy store. Very inexpensive but super useful. And this is just some mayo that I'm going to put over my veggies. And then of course I'm going to fry it up using some salted butter. I don't like oil, and I don't like using margarine, so this is just normal supermarket salted butter, and that works really well. Veggies are almost done. I do want to brown these Viennas more. I like them when they're nice and browned. And then I'll just chuck in an egg or 2 as well. And that, my friends, is a very substantial meal. budget meal, nothing fancy at all, but you can't say that doesn't look good. That, ladies and gentlemen, is an awesome camp meal. Look how cool that looks. Huge meal. And I'm sitting in the main lapa. I've got absolutely everything I need. And I'm also going to chuck on some mayo on the veggies. Cheers and yum. Yeah. 11:48. It's almost midnight and it has been an awesome day. Very long day. I feel that I've been on the go non-stop the entire day, although I didn't really get much filming done this afternoon, only because I was so sidetracked by everything that this place has to offer. I just found myself completely and utterly distracted, in a good way. But yeah, I'm completely knackered, absolutely clapped. I'm going to pass out soon. I can feel it. It's still very warm. It feels about 16 to 18 Celsius, but I do have a nice cool breeze coming through. Speaking of which, the wind hasn't stopped blowing at all, so it's going to be interesting to see how the filming goes tomorrow. It's always difficult to film in the wind. But anyway, yeah, I'm super happy, and I'm going to cut it here and say to you guys, thanks for sticking with me, and sleep well. I'll see you in the morning. Cheers. Good night. Good morning, guys. Time is now just on 9:30. Pretty interesting evening last night. The wind eventually dropped around about midnight, maybe 1 o'clock, and I also had something that was burrowing under the tent, which was a little freaky, but I eventually fell asleep and I've woken to what looks like a stunning day. Beautiful view out across the valley. It's going to be another hot day today. Bit of a light breeze, but I'm quite excited to get the day going. But first things first, cup of coffee and breakfast. All right, I'm at the lapa again, and I'm going to use their counter just to boil up some water and make coffee. But I injured myself a couple of camps ago. I stood on a stone that went right into my heel, and I think I hurt it further yesterday. So my foot is sore, struggling to walk. Lovely day. It's going to be a hot day. You heard 36, and if the wind doesn't blow like yesterday, it's going to be an absolute stinker. Just off behind the camera is the big rocky outcrop, Leopard Rock. That's where I'm going to go film some of that Bushman rock art. It's just way too hot to make a fire and cook outside now. That boma is already pretty hot, but it's nice and comfortable, nice and cool over here in the lapa, so I am going to make use of their stove, and I'm going to cook again with the pan. And for breakfast, all that I'm going to do is one of these savory buns. I quite like this. This is nice and fresh. I'm just going to split that in two. I'm going to make some egg and milk batter. I'm going to dunk the bread, basically just fry it as French toast, and then I'm going to put a little drizzle of syrup over the top, and the leftover scrambled egg I'll just put on some melted cheese as well. So that's breakfast, and I think it's going to be great. Yum. It was a mole. That creature that was burrowing under my tent last night. Nick says there's a lot of moles in the area, so. This is the cave that we walked to yesterday evening to come and do our sundowner. We actually climbed up to the top of the boulder, and I'm not going to be doing that again because I don't have hiking boots, and it wasn't the brightest idea to try and climb a boulder in flip-flops. In fact, probably also not the best thing to do a hike now, midday when the temperatures are close to 40, but you know me, rather now than never. If you do hear a buzzing sound, I've got a friend with me. It's a big bumblebee that's flying around. But yeah, right now I'm enjoying the shade. I'm enjoying this nice cool breeze that's coming through. And typically this is the type of overhang or cave that the ancient African people, the San people, would have used. Obviously as shelter from bad weather. I can only imagine in front of me, perhaps they built a big fire, gutted their kill, prepped the meat, skinned the animal. Who knows what sort of activity would have been happening inside this cave. And I can only imagine quite a lot. But there is some rock art just up behind me, also off to my left. I thought it was better preserved. It's actually quite faded, which is a shame, and that's obviously because of people over time. Sad to say, people always have to touch, and they forget just how delicate these displays are. But yeah, this is what they call Leopard Rock, and I will show you what is here are little leopard spots, which is pretty cool. And obviously they would have used red ochre to depict their way of life. And interesting how fascinating really how it can still remain on the surface of a rock for so long. Also the whole Cederberg area, you know, up to 20,000 years ago would have been a hive of activity with the Sand people, and it's not an easy environment to live in. It's quite hostile. And I think for me in particular, it's incredibly interesting how even ancient man back then, with so little, still found and developed a way to thrive in these type of conditions. So really, really very interesting. But yeah, let me just get some more liquid in the body. Let me just sort of cool down, and then I can show you some of the rock art. Hopefully it comes through in the camera. This is to give you an idea of the size of the place. Ceiling is about maybe 15 feet up, 12-15 feet up over here. Above the camera maybe about 20-25 feet. Left to right I'm looking at about 30 feet, 40 feet maybe. So pretty big, and very, very sheltered. The overhang extends quite a lot, so even if I'm standing here, the rain wouldn't hit me at all. It would probably drop there where the camera is now, unless the wind is blowing the rain in. But even so, super sheltered, and a lot of black up here, and oh, over here. Very pronounced, and I can only imagine that was probably smoke from fire. If anything, the Sand people, they would have relied on fire. Well, they would have relied on fire, and I would imagine the fire was probably built right here, because everything above here is completely black. So that must be evidence of smoke and fire. Right, so like I said, this place is called Leopard Rock, and right in front of you now you can see obviously these spots of the leopard. Over here, this is obviously the head. This would have been the body coming down, and the tail. There's still some more down here as well, but I mean that's pretty distinctive leopard spots. Yeah, so like I said, a lot of the displays have become very faded, but over here you can just make out a man. There's the one leg, this is the torso over here, those are the arms, there's the head over there, and there's something up here. It almost looks, well, to me it looks like a giraffe. It looks like a leg there, and something very long up here. So this, I don't know how well it's coming through in the camera, but this is something that is, well, to my eye, very distinctive. Faded, but distinctive. Okay, so here's what looks like another one. Leg over here, body here, arm extending there, and head area over here. That's the sort of outline there. Don't worry, I'm not touching the rock, but that's the outline over there. I think that one's a little bit more clear. Alright, so again, like I say, it's a pity that the displays have been faded over time. It's just people and their impact, of course. But up here, to my eye, this is a very distinctive handprint. I don't know how well that's going to come through in the camera, but it's literally like this. This is a little thumb. It's obviously a child's hand. This is a thumb. There's a finger that protrudes there, here, and then this is the palm. So like I say, it's a hand that looks like this, looking down at the camera. Clear as day to my eyes, but probably not that great in the camera. But let's see what else we can find. Okay, so I ended up doing some more rock scrambling only to find another display or picture, and this one is really well preserved. It's only because it's far out of reach, and either people haven't seen it or they can't get to it. But either way, it's nice and preserved, and it's quite distinctive. So let's quickly zoom in, give you a better look-see. Oh, there we go. Yeah, that's a lot more detailed. I am also on a big rock. I'm completely exposed, so there might be some wind coming through. But in terms of this little discovery, I think we are all quite okay to overlook the audio issue. But this is a nice one. This is a nice one. Just found another interesting diagram. You'll see the figurine is clearly outlined. He's actually standing facing to the left. I would imagine probably painted by a hunter, but check out those monster calves. Alright, it's 7:30 and I thought I'd just give you a quick update. Sun has just set over the mountains and it's turned out to be a very peaceful evening. A little bit of a breeze blowing, but not nearly as bad as yesterday. Very happy with today, very productive day. I got a lot done, and it was nice to spend the afternoon chilling at the pool, picking up a bit of a tan. You'll also see over here there's a new tent that arrived today. This is a chap from Germany. His name's Dirk, and I was talking to him earlier. Very interesting man. 6 months of the year he spends traveling through and exploring southern Africa, and he tells me that he lives in that tent for 6 months, which is pretty wicked. But anyway, the hosts, they have invited me for a braai tonight. So it's going to be nice to spend the evening with them, and it doesn't feel right using the camera. I might film just a few seconds so that you guys can see what it's about, but I think it's the right thing to do to pack the camera away, and on that note I will catch up with you guys again a little bit later. I did say that I was going to put the camera away, but it wouldn't be right not showing you what's for dinner. So surprise, surprise, a few sausages. These are my new best friends behind me that have just run out of the view. I don't know why. Last of the eggs, some Melrose cheese because we can, and my all-time favorite bully beef. just wouldn't be a camp without it. And
That's the most important.
that's the best part, Nico. And there are two. We've got to get through them. So yeah, no peasant camping. We've got another fire happening over here, and I think Nico's going to be doing some meat. Yeah.
Yeah, some meat,
Okay.
some boerewors, some steak. We're gonna have a nice feast.
Yeah, it's going to be a great feast. And even with my Melrose cheese and bully beef, at least I'm still making a small contribution to the bounty. But yeah, great evening.
We're
Absolutely
looking forward
perfect.
to eating real camp food.
So here is a toast to a legend, Dirk, who's been on the road for 6 months camping in his
Exactly.
awesome tent. It's absolute legend. So, cheers to you, sir.
Cheers.
And cheers to you, Nico.
Cheers.
Thank you very much for hosting.
That's a pleasure.
Anyway, we'll catch up with you again a bit later.
Yeah.
But you've got some interesting stories there. Your adventure is just insane.
Oh yeah, a little bit.
A little bit.
A little.
6 months
Yeah.
traveling through the bush in your 4x4, living in a tent. I mean, you're living the life, eh?
Yeah, he does, doesn't he?
I mean, this is your front porch.
He's just like, Jimmy, you can wait. I'm going for 6 months.
Das is good, yeah.
That is good.
Also, it makes fun. The first 2 months are really lovely and I enjoy it.
Mm.
But then it's going harder. Then you also go tired a little bit about that. Huh? And especially it's the weather. So with the 7 days in Botswana rain, huh? You go crazy. You have 7 days rain. It's
And
cold,
if
it's
it
wet.
rains in Botswana, it rains.
Oh,
Yeah.
and you
Everything's
cannot
wet.
go out and all is wet, huh?
And your tent is wet. And everything
Oh.
inside is wet.
And you sit only in your buggy, huh?
Cheers, guys.
Yeah.
Cheers.
Cheers. Cheers.
Awesome people to awesome friends.
Awesome. Yeah,
And
that's exactly.
it's a great new
Yeah, wait a
relationship.
And no drama.
My secret to tourism and hospitality is if you come to me, you arrive at my place as a guest, you leave as a friend,
Yeah.
I will
You've done what you set out.
You've done what you said to do.
No, absolutely.
Absolutely.
Time is now just before 11 o'clock. It's been an awesome day. Stunning dinner. It was quite the feast. I'm completely knackered and I am ready for bed. Good night, guys. See you in the morning. Breaking camp is a reminder of my adventure now coming to a close. It was yet another awesome camping experience filled with wonder and fascination, and I was sad to be heading home. My short stay not only ignited a deep-seated love for this spiritual place, but also offered me the opportunity to meet new friends I now consider family. It was time to say my goodbyes, hit the road and head back home, only to wonder how soon it would be before I'd be heading back to lay my head down once again in this peaceful place, close my eyes and listen to the silence that speaks.
How could I know there was no second chances? Like dominoes, my life got really scattered. Still, I find myself hoping that you'll find your way back to me. 'Cause I've been
Right, I'm all packed up and ready to head home. Yet another awesome camp. and I made some incredible new friends. Nick and Elizabeth, if you are watching, thank you so much for your warm hospitality, and for me it was an absolute pleasure to have met you. Anyway, Gecko Creek Wilderness Lodge, I will leave all their details down below. Please check them out. Any comments, any questions, drop those down below. And if you enjoyed the video, please support the channel by smashing that like button. Also, don't forget to subscribe, and I will catch you again in the next one. Until then, take it easy. Cheers and bye.